Now, as you see here, the first chakra is very important because you see the connection is established with the left hand. It's a very, very important center. It's the center of your innocence. The first thing God created on this earth was innocence. And this innocence is embodied in a deity whom we call as Sri Ganesha. This deity was created long, long time back, much before anything started on this earth, the Omega and the Alpha as you can call it, and he incarnated on this earth as Lord Jesus Christ. I was told that I have to be careful because there are many people who just don't believe in Jesus Christ. This is a very big conditioning of people because they are born in families who don't want to believe in Christ. Whether you like it or not, he exists, not only he exists, but he is the only one who can really give us the path from here. So the first one is the center of our innocence. And this center of innocence was kept there at a position where it manifests in the growth, our pelvic plexus, which looks after the excretion of the body. As there are four, we can say the petals of this subtle center, in the same way there are four subplexuses for the pelvic plexus. I don't know how many I have done medicine here, but the pelvic plexus has got four excretory subplexuses. One of them is responsible for sex. Now, the idea of sex that has come to us is from people like Mr. say Freud. Now look at his life. What sort of a life he led? He had bad relations with his own mother. He's a perverted fellow. Secondly, see, look at his sense. In his own life, he should see the light of a person. Then, secondly, that he had cancer for years together and he died with cancer. So physically he was nonsensical, mentally he was a pervert. Yes, I mean you must see the person whom you try to follow, all right? So it's so logical. Now you see his life as it is. He taught you, that if you try to condition yourself about sex, and if you marry someone and you are married to one person and then you are attached, it's conditioning of the society. But he was half-baked because you are not on your left side. See, if you say that what's wrong if I do this, what's wrong if I do that, what's wrong if I do that, if you go on like this, then you forget the other side, which is the ego. Which is the ego side. And then the ego side develops and then you can become a mad person. Then your sex can be a problem. Today the sex of modern people is such a problem. We should face it. Perhaps you do not know that what a percentage of American young people are important today. They are important. The more you become important, a vicious circle is created, and to you sex becomes so important that you think you have to become just a sex point. No more a human being, but a sex point. All the time you talk of sex, 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 sex. What is the need? It is such a simple thing. Every animal knows, everyone knows, nobody is given education about it. In India, we never talk about it. We are producing much more children than you are producing here. There's also another reason why we produce more children is the load has to be on us because children don't want to be born here. The conditions are so bad. In England, 2 children are killed. 2 children, can you believe it? Is announced. 2 children are killed every week by parents. I mean, I can't think of one parent in India who will do that. One. We have poverty, we have everything. But no mother can kill her own child. I mean, even if she has 12 children, she wouldn't mind. Mind is not the thing. She loves them. She can't afford to lose even one child out of them. I mean, it is another extreme we have. Like we can even sell our country for our children's sake. We are to that limit. You see, some of the people who are so attached to their children that they don't mind. For their children's sake, they can sell their country. That's going to another extreme. But I must say that children would like to be born in India, not here. So we are carrying the load upon ourselves. But the main thing is our sex ideas are really being conditioned by this so-called deconditioner. When they say do not condition yourself, actually they decondition you. They think, but they are conditioning you much more by saying do this, do that. You see, sex, you don't have to run away from that. You don't have to get out from that, not at all. But sane ideas must be developed about sex, and you have to lead a very good married life. Married life is the blessing of the goddess on you. It's a Graha Lakshmi. The way you treat your women, the women treat you. The way, it's a reaction. You see, the men treated them so shabbily, now the women are becoming mad here. I must say they are getting mad. You can't live without men. How can you live without them? It's impossible. If you think you can live without men, you are sadly mistaken. It's a wrong idea. You cannot. And men can't live without you. Now you might say there are people, I was amazed also, another amazing thing I heard was that 65% people in California are homosexual. It's something shocking, another thing it is. Because it's perversion. Now why it happens? I had a boy in New York who came to me, who was like a boy, he had mustaches, everything, was talking like a woman, I said, what's wrong with this fellow? First I didn't understand, Then they told me, mother, he's something like that, and this, that, and that. I said, all right. But actually he was possessed by a woman. He was possessed by a woman. I removed that possession, and he said, now I feel like a man, and he started walking in a different way altogether. He changed his gait and everything, and he was walking in a different way. Just imagine, it was just a possession of a woman on him. So he was behaving like a woman, and he was seeking a company of a man instead of a woman, which he should seek. That's a normal thing to do. And he became abnormal. Now when they became abnormal, nobody is there to protect it. Nobody is going to tell them that this is abnormal. This is nothing that you should say, this is sin, this is illegal. Nobody is going to listen to that. If you tell human beings this is wrong, they will sit on your head. They will never do it. Never tell them this is wrong. Tell them this is right. Go ahead with it. When they suffer, they will come back. This is the way our modern society is working towards you. All right, you want homosexuality? Permit it. You want killing? Permit it. Whatever you want, you do it. Well, they have a feeling behind them that once you allow them to do what they like, either they'll be finished completely once for all, headache is gone, or once they realize they'll come back to normalcy. I think this must be the basics for everybody, not going into it and finding out that 65% people are suffering from such an absurd thing, which is not at all joy-giving. It's never joy-giving. It's just ego pampering. Because some women told me, mother, these men are so dominating and they are so horrid, and that's why we should not have anything to do with them. All right? And they try to push us here and there, and they try to harass us, so we have nothing to do with them. We'll have ladies together. I said, that's not the way. You should know how to handle them. They are very sweet. Oh, they are extremely sweet. You see, you should know how to handle them. They are like children, absolutely like children. But you have to be a real mother to understand them. They are so sweet, you can't imagine. They are extremely sweet and good people. Same about men, I would say, that the way they see the women are sort of dominating them and all that. There are ways of handling the women of that kind also. You can manage that. You see, you have forgotten the sweet methods of romance. You see, now the romance depends on the wig you wear. If a woman is wearing a particular type of a wig, the man falls in love. She changes the wig, the love is finished. These kind of artificial ideas, if you have about your relationship with each other, if it is the hair you like, if it is the eyes you like and all that, it will not last. but the feeling that we belong to each other. Just we belong to each other and we have to love each other. Then you don't see these defects in each other, you don't find these problems, not at all. I mean, you need not be with your husband all the time, but you enjoy the separation. And then you enjoy also the meeting. It's not that if you are away from him, then you are bored stiff, not at all. It's a very sweet thing that happens to you and can happen to all of you when you are realized. Once you are realized, you come to such a normal position that the whole thing normalizes, you see, because that's an absolute point. That's the thing that takes away all your imbalances, all your problems, and you really know what is love, what is enjoyment. This Gregor is the one who came here, did all kinds of nonsensical things here, you know. The day he was telling to me the other day that, Mother, you are the master of putting all the pieces together in a very nice integrated manner. And it's true that it is the spirit in you that does that. It just brings back everything that's all looking so ugly and so disintegrated into one beautiful form. And all the romances that you have heard of, now he is such a romance for his wife, you know, he's so romantic that nobody can believe that he's a modern man. A modern man is not supposed to be romantic about his wife. He can be romantic about anybody else's wife, but not his own. So this is the absurdity of our ideas about love. She's your own. Why not enjoy your own things instead of enjoying somebody else's things? Like in India, you see, supposing you get an Indian, he may be a thug, he may come to your house and run away with your things, you know, may run away with all your things that you have, can't do it. But if you get another one, a Western man in the house, he'll run away with your wife only. You don't know what he will do. He'll talk very sweetly and run away with a wife. And he will think, oh, I've done such a great thing, she loves me, and he is not bothered as to the whole system of the family is finished, the whole thing is finished. Like we had one boy, a journalist, who was 26-year-old, and his friend was 24-year-old, and he invited the friend to his house. The mother was 48-year-old, and she ran away with the friend. And 4 children were left behind, and her father didn't know what to do. She had a divorce, and she got the house divided. The children are thrown to places. I mean, this is absurd. How can you do it? And she came to me, oh, I'm in love with him, Mother. I said, this little boy who is younger to your son, how can you be in love? Are you mad? You must be mad to believe in such a thing. And the fellow was interested in her money, perhaps, maybe. I don't know what he was interested, but they were in love, supposed to be in love. I don't know what sort of a love is this one. See, how can you be in love with your great-grandchildren? It's absurd. You know, this is so absurd. You see these 80-year-old people trying to copy with you, going in a pub and dancing like you with the shaking hands and everything shaking and collapsing next moment. What is there to compete with these young children? You are grown up, you are matured, you are sensible, you are sane, enjoy them. It's a funny thing, you see, in these modernity we have gone very much away from reality. That's why we are away from joy and enjoyment. All right, so this is it, that sex it is to be used for its right purpose and to be used at its right point, means at the Mooladhara. Christ said one thing. He said, it is written, thou shalt not commit adultery. I say, thou shalt not have adulterous eyes. Because he knew this would happen, and he is placed at that point where he controls the eyes. Nowadays we have started doing sex with our eyes, this flirting business. What do you get out of it? Looking at this girl, looking at that girl, looking at this girl, that girl, what are you getting? Your eyes are ruined, your attention is ruined, you are finished and fagged out. And by the time you have seen 20 girls, you sit down and say, ah. This is the best way to age. And then you go to beauty clinics and try to look younger. See, what is the need to look at these girls like this? They are all your sisters. Have purity in your heart. There is no need to waste your attention so much. There is no need to waste your attention. For an Indian would be looking at the things, and you will be looking at the women or the men. You finish your choice at a point. You finish it and enjoy it. Even in guru shopping you do the same thing. You have come to me now, I have told you the truth. But tomorrow another guru comes in, let's go and have a look. If you have that kind of a frivolous idea about yourself, Sahaja Yoga is not going to work out in you. You have to settle down with it. You have to work it out. Your spirit is to be completely uncovered and is to be brought into complete consciousness of yours. You should really become the master. Unless and until you are master, you should not give in. And don't go to these people just to look at them, because you spoil your attention. So, doing sex with your thinking leads you to impotency. If you have to eat food with your mouth, you start eating with your nose, the mouth will be finished because it's frozen, and the nose will be finished too, and you won't be eating either. Whatever things have to do, whatever ways, you should allow that organ to work out that thing. So, that's why the spontaneity in sex is lost. You think about it, plan about. How can you plan? I just can't understand. You plan about everything that is so spontaneous. And that's why there is such a problem. And people talk here as if sex is something out of the blue. It is just there, it exists, and you don't have to learn about it. It is all there. And to talk about it also is not necessary. It is your own private. It's absolutely private and sacred thing between you and your wife. That's all. Nothing beyond, nothing before. It's a very sacred thing. The more sacred it is, the more you enjoy it. I have known people in India who are 90 years of age and still very potent. One gentleman came to tell me that, mother, my wife has died and I'm still, I don't know. I said, it's all right. He said, how do you manage? I told him, how do you manage? He said, I'm living in her separation, I'm living. That's how they live. And they manage themselves. While here the people at a very young age just become exhausted and finished. So we have to understand that in Sahaja Yoga, you try, it will work out. It works out also. Gradually your attention will be stationed. You will be very much in the center and you will develop your innocence in such a beautiful manner. You get back your innocence in Sahaja. Can you believe it? Completely become so innocent and so simple that you are amazed at yourself. Your innocence is there as far as money is concerned, no doubt. Still you are intact on that point. On that point, Indians are not. You are innocent as far as material things are concerned. For example, you don't mind giving all the money to these horrible gurus as long as you get your realization. But there, I think innocence is not stupidity. How can you give money for your realization? I mean, it's a simple thing, we must understand. You cannot pay money for your realization. One thing you must understand. Anybody who says, now I've got vibration, some people go to someone and feel heated up. Then they go on feeling heated up more and more and more. This heat is coming from that man and is going to increase your heat all the time. And it is going to increase and increase and increase, and your chakras are going to be ruined completely by this fellow. It has to be reduced, it has to come to the cooling point, and you must feel the cooling point. If you cannot feel the cooling point, then you must know that this man is absolutely wrong. Heat is not the sign of cleansing. When you are feeling heat here now, for example, it is because the cleansing is taking place. Once the cleansing is over, the cool breeze must blow in and you must feel the cool breeze. Now some people might feel absolutely cold, just like frozen. That's also not a good sign. That means you are left-sided. Some of you may feel that kind of a thing. It's not the feeling, the cold is the point, it's the feeling, the cool breeze. It's a breeze-like feeling that you get from my photograph also will get. That's the way you have to judge yourself. You judge yourself, establish yourself, keep your chakras clean, and you'll be amazed how you become a master of the whole art. You will be able to give realization, each one of you, to thousands of people.